Hey, this is Dylan James from CookevilleTimes.com, and I am sitting here with Light at the Rocket Town in Nashville. Light, how you doing?
I'm pretty good. How you doing?
Doing good.
Thanks for having me.
No problem at all. So, you are from Canada.
Yes.
Yes, and you just released an album called Siberia. Tell us more about the album.
Siberia is my second record,
Mm-hmm.
and it's kind of hard. That's like throwing me into the pit here, trying to describe this whole child. But it's an evolution from the first record in terms of the way that I approached it. I mean, there's a lot of great collaborations on it, and I took everything that I knew and experienced over touring over the past couple of years and kind of applied it to it. So it's a bunch of like upbeat, happy songs. You learn a lot about yourself over a couple of years. And it's got this kind of gritness, not only this to it. I brought in Julia to collaborate with me. That's the tame version of it.
Yeah.
And we basically jammed on a lot of the songs, and it really set the direction of the tone for a lot of the record, because with jamming, you're getting kind of the antithesis of electronic. You're getting imperfect, not super quantized, raw electronic music. So I thought it was a really cool version of my music with this new life in it that hadn't been there before. So it was really cool, and that's kind of set the taste for the whole record, and it has this kind of overall raw vibe to it, and it's really fun to play live.
Nice. Okay, so let's start from the very beginning. Your parents were missionaries, and you traveled various parts of the world. Like, what parts of the world did you travel to?
I lived in Jamaica and the Philippines.
Nice. That's very cool. So, you moved to Toronto. You changed your legal name to Light then, and then you were a writer for Sony and ATV Music.
That was just before I moved to Toronto, and that's kind of why I moved to Toronto. Yeah, I got signed when I was like 16, 17 at the time.
How did you get into that? Like, how did they find you?
When I was about 13, I started making music. I mean, I learned to play guitar when I was 11. I bought this little 8-track. I saved up for it when I was 13. Started to produce and write, and I had all these stacks of music. And ended up meeting my manager, who's my manager now, about 10 years ago. And he saw potential in me, and he really believed in me from the start. His name's Young Meshi, and he really stood by me. And today we're like, this is a great team. We have the same mind frame, the same way we approach everything. So he kind of stood by me through all my changes in music, and we went around to a few different labels. And you get rejection a lot at the beginning when you're still finding yourself. People just don't see what maybe you see.
Yeah.
And I got signed to like a development deal, and then kind of it fell apart. And then from that deal came meeting the guys from Sony ATV, who's my publisher company, and they took me on as a songwriter. Because I really do put a lot of effort into songwriting. I mean, that's what this industry is founded on. That's what people cling to. If you write a good song, that's what people understand. And it can be translated in a million different genres, but it's still the same song. Yeah. And that's the beauty of songwriting. I mean, there's so many ways you can go with it. So they really kind of just helped hone my songwriting skills. And I was always in it to make music for myself. But, I mean, it's a muscle, and you have to exercise it. So I wrote for, like, some TV shows and things like that, just to get practice. Okay. Finally wrote something that I really felt comfortable in, and the first song was February Air, and put that on MySpace, and that's when the listening started. Yeah.
So you started touring in 2008 in the Great Lakes area, then you went to the United States and just toured all around the United States. You signed a record deal with Underground Operations, as well as signing a partnership with Warner Brothers in conjunction with Doghouse Records. So like a lot of people wanted you. A lot of people wanted you, apparently, from the very beginning. And then you actually got The Last Thing on Your Mind in the Old Navy commercial. How did that happen?
Well, they used 4 songs actually, and they found me on MySpace.
Oh, okay.
So it just shows that you can do things on your own, you can do things independently. With this record, sometimes you don't see eye to eye with some of the people you're working with. Some people just are, and so we ended up releasing this record independently through Last Gang.
Oh, nice.
So a really amazing label, and paid for the record out of my own pocket. So you really find something you believe in, and you do it yourself. You don't need.
You got to put yourself into it.
You really got to. People will find you. This is my biggest advice to people now in the industry. One of my first big steps in was the Old Navy commercials. They put them on their ad campaign, and they referred people back to my MySpace page. And they found it on my MySpace page. So I was like, I did that. We put that there. I mean, I have a great team and everything, but that's where people found it. Do it. Put your music out there if that's what you want.
Yeah.
Don't wait for somebody to come sign you.
Yeah. So you toured with Owl City 2010. You collaborated with them somewhat. So just tell me how you met Owl City and how you guys
MySpace? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we both kind of got going around the same time, and I was always watching his work. Man, it's awesome. I remember hearing Hello Seattle and being like, what a cool song. I mean, that song has been out for a long time, for years.
Yeah.
And as he started to grow, and then All City blew up, and it was amazing. And he, because we had been messaging back and forth a bit, he was awesome enough to take us out on that first major tour that they did.
Nice.
And it was awesome. We did 5 months with them.
Nice. Okay, so October 4th, that's when Siberia was released.
Really a ton of facts here.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
What's your favorite song now?
That's hard to pick. I love them all. They're all great. I love playing them all.
Well, let's do this. Top 3.
Well, however, I do really like playing When the Fence is Low.
Okay.
It's got this great dynamic, and it's about a recurring dream that I used to have that I suddenly stopped having once the song was written. So it's kind of like all that's left of that dream, and I love that dream. I mean, it was a terrifying dream, but it was a beautiful dream, and I remember I pictured it perfectly. I think, you look back on it, and it was about writing the record. It was scary, but it was new, and it was beautiful, and you really enjoyed being there. So this is a dream. It's a song about a dream about making the record, and there's something special about it.